Commander Laura Winters stood at the large window of Space Station Horizon, looking out at the stars. Her short brown hair was tied back and her blue uniform showed her rank clearly. After 15 years in the Earth Defense Force, quiet moments like this were rare. She enjoyed watching the slow spin of the blue-green Earth below. Her wristcom buzzed. She tapped it and heard the voice of Lieutenant Greg Peters. "Commander, sorry to disturb you. Admiral Harris needs you in meeting room 3 right away. The aliens are here." Laura sighed. "Which ones?" "The Confederation. 6 of them. They seem upset." That was strange. The Galactic Confederation had made contact with Earth 3 years ago. Since then, relations had been polite but distant. The aliens seemed to view humans as interesting but primitive newcomers to space travel. They rarely asked for emergency meetings. "I'm on my way," Laura said. She walked quickly through the curved hallways of the station. Other officers moved aside, nodding respectfully. At 38, Laura was young for her rank, but her record in the Mars conflict had earned her this position. When the door to meeting room 3 slid open, Laura saw Admiral John Harris already seated at the round table. Across from him sat 6 alien representatives. Laura recognized General Zakarn, the leader of the Thalaxian fleet. His gray skin looked almost like metal, and the 4 mandibles around his mouth clicked nervously. Beside him sat General Sithril, whose long snake-like body was coiled on a special chair. The other 4 aliens were from species Laura had met only a few times. "Commander Winters, thank you for joining us," Admiral Harris said. His gray beard and calm voice usually put people at ease, but today he looked concerned. "The Confederation has some questions about our training facilities." Laura took a seat beside the Admiral. "Of course, how can I help?" General Zakarn leaned forward. His voice came through the translator with a metallic edge. "We have learned that your people are conducting military training on planet XC-291. Is this correct?" Laura glanced at Admiral Harris, who nodded slightly. XC-291 was not a secret, but it was interesting that the aliens knew about it. The planet was where Earth sent its best soldiers for extreme environment training. "Yes, that's correct," Laura replied. "It's one of our advanced training grounds." The aliens looked at each other. General Sithril's yellow eyes narrowed. "And your soldiers? They go to the surface? They train in those conditions?" "Of course," Laura said, confused by the question. "That's the whole point. It's a challenging environment, but with proper equipment, our people manage well." The room filled with strange sounds as all 6 aliens began speaking at once in their own languages. Their translator devices struggled to keep up, creating a jumble of words. Laura caught phrases like, "not possible," and "biological limits." "General." Zakarn raised 2 of his 4 hands and the others went quiet. He turned to Laura with all 3 of his eyes focused intently. "Commander Winters, perhaps there is a misunderstanding. Planet XC-291 has gravity 2.3 times stronger than Earth. Its atmosphere contains high levels of sulfur compounds that would burn lung tissue. The temperature ranges from extremely hot during the day to freezing at night. And there are regular acid storms." "Yes, that's why we use it for training," Admiral Harris said. "It's one of the harshest environments where we can still set up a base. Our soldiers wear protective suits, of course." "And how long do your people stay there during training?" asked a blue-skinned alien Laura didn't recognize. "Standard training missions last 5 days," Laura answered. "Our elite units sometimes stay for 2 weeks." The room went completely silent. The aliens stared at the humans with expressions Laura couldn't quite read, but she recognized one emotion clearly: fear. General Zakarn's voice was quieter now. 2 weeks on the surface?" "Yes," Laura said. "Is there a problem?" General Sithril uncoiled slightly from his chair. "Commander, no known species in the Confederation could survive on that planet for more than a few hours, even with our most advanced protection systems. The gravity alone would crush most of our people." Laura hadn't known that. Humans needed special equipment and training for XC-291, but it was challenging, not impossible. She looked at Admiral Harris, who seemed equally surprised. "We would like permission to observe your training operations," General Zakarn said. If what you say is true, we need to reassess certain assumptions. Admiral Harris nodded slowly. I don't see why not. Commander Winters can arrange a visit to our orbital station above XC-291. You can observe the next training group. Thank you, General Zakarn said. His mandibles were clicking rapidly now, a sign of stress Laura had learned to recognize. This matter is of great importance to the Confederation. After the meeting ended and the aliens left, Laura turned to Admiral Harris. Sir, what was that about? They seemed really shocked. Admiral Harris rubbed his beard thoughtfully. I think we just discovered something important, Laura. Something that might change our position in the galaxy. Because we can train on a harsh planet. Because what's harsh for us might be impossible for them. He stood up and looked out the small window toward the stars. Think about it. If most aliens can't survive in environments where humans can work and fight, Laura felt a chill as she understood. Then we have access to territories they can't reach, places they can't attack, resources they can't mine. Admiral Harris nodded. Exactly. And based on their reaction, I don't think they knew this about us until now. He turned to face her. The Confederation has always treated us like children, Laura. Like we're harmless newcomers they don't need to worry about. But that's about to change, Laura said. Yes. I want you to handle this observation visit personally. Show them exactly what humans can do. Admiral Harris smiled slightly. But be diplomatic about it. We don't want to scare them too much, so. Laura left the meeting room, her mind raced with possibilities. Humanity had always thought of itself as physically weaker than many alien species. The Thalaxians were stronger, the Sithrel faster. But perhaps humans had an advantage no one had recognized yet, the ability to go where others couldn't. The next day, Laura received official orders. She would escort 3 Confederation military observers to watch the training on XC-291. The mission would start in 2 weeks. That gave her time to select the right training squad, soldiers who would show the aliens exactly what humans were capable of. Laura felt a strange mix of pride and concern as she prepared. The look in General Zakarn's eyes had been unmistakable. The Confederation had just realized that humans might be more dangerous than they thought. And in Laura's experience, fear could lead to either respect or violence. She hoped for respect, but she would prepare for anything else. 2 weeks passed quickly. Laura spent the time reviewing files on the alien observers and preparing for their visit. She selected Squad Bravo for the demonstration, led by Captain Ryan Kelly, a veteran with 10 years of experience in harsh environment training. The day came when Laura waited in the docking bay of orbital station XC-5, which circled high above planet XC-291. The station shook slightly as the Confederation vessel connected. When the airlock opened, 3 aliens stepped through. General Zakarn led the group, his gray metallic skin reflecting the bright lights of the docking bay. Behind him came Klurix, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and large eyes that blinked constantly. The third observer was Vorin, who looked almost human except for the ridge of small spines running from his forehead to the back of his neck. Welcome to Orbital Station XC-5, Laura said with a polite nod. I hope your journey was comfortable. It was adequate, General Zakarn replied. His 3 eyes moved around the docking bay, taking in every detail. When can we observe your training? Operations? Right away, Laura said. Squad Bravo is already on the planet's surface. They've been there for 2 days and will complete their mission tomorrow. The aliens exchanged glances. 2 days already? Klurix asked, his voice high and musical through the translator. Laura led them to the observation room. One wall was made entirely of screens showing different views of the planet's surface. Squad Bravo could be seen moving through a rocky valley. The sky above them was dark purple with clouds that looked like bruises. The soldiers wore specialized exosuits that protected them from the harsh environment. This is a live feed, Laura explained. Captain Kelly and his 9 squad members are conducting a standard search and rescue operation. They're looking for training dummies we placed in different locations. What are the current surface conditions? Voran asked, leaning closer to the screens. Laura tapped a control panel, bringing up environmental readings. Gravity is 2.3 times Earth normal. Current temperature at their location is 38 degrees Celsius. The air pressure is nearly triple Earth standard, and atmospheric toxicity is at level 5. Level 5? Clorix's four hands moved nervously. And they breathe this? No, Laura smiled. They use filtered air in their suits, but the suits are designed to work with minimal power. If their main systems fail, the backup systems will keep them alive for 36 hours. 36 hours in those conditions, General Zakarn muttered. Impressive. Laura brought up another screen showing the vital signs of each squad member. As you can see, they're all within normal parameters. Heart rates are elevated due to the high gravity, but nothing concerning. And how long can they operate like this? Voran asked. Squad Bravo's mission is 3 days total, Laura said. But our record for continuous operation on XC-291 is 14 days set by Special Forces Team Delta last year. The aliens went silent. Laura noticed Clorix's skin had turned a paler shade of blue. You must understand, General Zakarn finally said. For most Confederation species, those conditions would be fatal within hours, even with our best protection technology. The gravity alone would crush bones and rupture organs in many of our people. Laura hadn't fully realized how different their biological limits were. That's why we train here, she explained. Humans evolved on a world with varying environments. Our bodies are adaptable. If we can operate here, we can operate almost anywhere. The observation continued for hours. The aliens watched as Squad Bravo navigated through acid rain that sizzled against their protective suits. They climbed steep cliffs using the high gravity to test their strength and endurance. When night fell and temperatures dropped to minus 15 degrees Celsius, the squad set up a temporary base and continued working. Remarkable, Voran said as they watched a soldier named Garcia carry a 100-kilogram training dummy up a hill. In this gravity, that would be like carrying 230 kilograms on Earth. Specialist Garcia holds our squad record for strength, Laura said proudly. That evening, after the formal observation ended, Laura invited the aliens to join her for a meal in the station's dining area. As they ate food specially prepared for each species, the conversation turned to wider topics. I noticed your reaction when you learned we train on XC-291, Laura said carefully. May I ask why this information concerns the Confederation so much? The three aliens looked at each other. Finally, General Zakarn spoke. Commander Winters, the galaxy is divided into habitable and uninhabitable worlds. For thousands of years, all known spacefaring species had roughly similar environmental limits. We could all live on the same types of planets. Clorix continued. This created natural barriers. If a planet was too hot, too cold, had too much gravity or toxic atmosphere, no one could use it. Many of our defense strategies rely on these barriers. But humans can go where you can't, Laura said, understanding dawning. Exactly, Voran nodded. You can establish bases, mine resources, and potentially launch attacks from worlds we considered safe because they were uninhabitable. That night, after the aliens returned to their quarters, Laura sent a secure message to Admiral Harris sharing what she had learned. His reply came quickly. Keep showing them what we can do. This changes everything. The next morning, Laura took the observers to a different section of the observation room. This one had a large window looking directly down at the planet. The purple clouds swirled over the rocky surface. Today, Squad Bravo will complete their mission and return to the station, Laura explained. You'll be able to meet them and ask questions if you wish. We would like that very much, General Zakarn said. His voice was formal, but Laura noticed a new tone in it, something like respect. As they waited, Laura saw General Zakarn move to a private corner of the room and activate his communication device. Though she couldn't hear the conversation, she could see his reflection in the window. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he spoke, and his gestures were urgent. 4 hours later, Squad Bravo's transport ship docked with the station. The soldiers emerged from the airlock, removing their helmets. They looked tired but satisfied. Captain Kelly's face was covered in sweat, and his legs trembled slightly from 3 days in high gravity, but he stood tall as he saluted Laura. "Mission complete, Commander," he reported. "All objectives achieved, no injuries or equipment failures." Laura introduced the soldiers to the alien observers. The aliens asked many questions about the training, which the squad answered honestly. "Weren't you afraid?" Clorix asked one young soldier named Martinez. She looked confused. "Of what? The environment? That's why we train, sir. So we're not afraid when it really matters." Later, as Laura escorted the observers back to their ship, General Zakarn took her aside. "Commander Winters, I have requested a formal meeting between your leaders and the Confederation High Council. This matter requires immediate attention at the highest levels." "Is something wrong?" Laura asked. "Not wrong," Zakarn replied, "but much has changed. We need to reevaluate humanity's place in galactic affairs." As the alien ship departed, Laura watched it disappear into the darkness of space. She knew that what had started as a simple training observation had become something much more significant. Humanity had just revealed an advantage they never knew they had. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. 1 month after the observation mission at XC-291, Commander Laura Winters stood nervously in the transport shuttle headed to the massive Confederation flagship. The huge ship looked like a silver mountain floating in space, over 20 times larger than Earth's biggest vessels. "Relax, Commander," said Admiral Harris, who sat beside her. "This is a good sign. No human has ever been invited to a High Council meeting before." "I know, sir," Laura replied, "but I can't help wondering why they need both of us here. And Ambassador Scott, too." Ambassador Keith Scott sat across from them, reviewing notes on his tablet. As Earth's chief diplomat to the Confederation, he usually handled these meetings alone. "Something big is happening," the ambassador said without looking up. "After your demonstration, emergency meetings were called across the Confederation. All 27 member species have sent representatives to this council." The shuttle docked smoothly with the great ship. When they stepped out, a blue-skinned alien with 6 legs waited for them. "Welcome to the Celestial Unity," the alien said through a translator device. "I am Tral, your guide. The High Council awaits you." Tral led them through wide corridors where aliens of many shapes and sizes moved about their business. Some looked almost human. Others had multiple limbs, unusual skin colors, or body shapes that seemed impossible. Many stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. "They're looking at us like we're dangerous animals," Laura whispered to Admiral Harris. "Maybe we are," he replied quietly. "At least from their perspective." The council chamber was enormous. A circular room with rising tiers of seats held hundreds of aliens. At the center was a round platform where the humans were directed to stand. Above them, a large screen showed images of planets, star systems, and what looked like military data. Grand Marshal Zelthorin, the Supreme Commander of Confederation forces, stepped forward to address them. He was tall and thin with pale yellow skin that seemed to glow slightly. His forearms were folded in what Laura had learned was a formal greeting posture. "Humans of Earth," Zelthorin's voice boomed through the translator. "Thank you for accepting our invitation. What we discuss today will change the relationship between your species and the Confederation forever." The screen above them changed to show planet XC-291. Then it showed other planets, frozen worlds, burning gas giants, and rocky planets with crushing gravity. "For thousands of years," Zelthorin continued, "the civilized species of this galaxy have mapped worlds into 2 categories, those where life can exist and those where it cannot. Our wars, our trade, our expansion, all have been built on this understanding." Laura noticed General Zakarn sitting nearby, watching her reaction carefully. "We have now confirmed what General Zakarn reported," Zelthorin said. "Humans can survive and operate in environments that would kill most Confederation species within minutes." The screen showed images from the training mission, human soldiers working in the harsh conditions of XC-291. Then new images appeared. Earth mining operations on high radiation moons, research bases in crushing undersea pressures, military outposts in extreme cold. Ambassador Scott stepped forward. Grand Marshal, may I ask how you obtained these images? Some of these facilities are not public knowledge. A ripple of uncomfortable sounds moved through the chamber. Zelthoran's glowing skin dimmed slightly. After learning about your training on XC-291, we conducted a full assessment of human activities. What you call harsh environments are what we call dead zones, places where no intelligent life should be able to function. Admiral Harris spoke up. With respect, Grand Marshal, humans have always adapted to extreme environments. Our history is filled with explorers who ventured into our harshest territories. We've simply continued this tradition as we moved into space. And in warfare, added a voice from the side. General Sithril uncoiled from his seat, yellow eyes fixed on the humans. Your military history shows you've used extreme environments as strategic advantages in conflicts. Laura understood the growing tension in the room. The Confederation had mapped the galaxy assuming certain worlds were unusable by any species. Their defensive strategies and expansion plans would have been built around these assumptions. What does this mean for Earth Confederation relations? Ambassador Scott asked directly. Grand Marshal Zelthoran gestured with his upper arms. That is why we are here. Our strategic experts have been working non-stop since the XC-291 revelation. The simple truth is that our previous assessment of humanity was incomplete. On the screen, a map of the galaxy appeared. Thousands of stars were highlighted in different colors. The blue worlds are those habitable to most Confederation species, Zelthoran explained. The red ones are those we considered uninhabitable to any intelligent life. There were far more red dots than blue, and now we must accept that many of these red worlds are accessible to humans, Zelthoran continued. This changes everything. About our understanding of territory, resources, and potential military threat assessment. Laura's mind raced at the implications. Humans had always thought of themselves as newcomers to a crowded galaxy. But if they could live and work where other species couldn't, let me be clear, Zelthoran said, his voice growing more serious. Some members of the Confederation view this revelation as a threat. They fear what humanity could become with access to these worlds and resources that others cannot reach. Admiral Harris straightened his back. Earth has no aggressive intentions toward the Confederation. We seek peaceful cooperation. Perhaps, said General Zakarn, stepping forward. But intentions can change, and capabilities matter more than intentions in strategic planning. The chamber grew quiet as Zelthoran raised all four hands. This is why we have called you here. The High Council has decided that our previous approach to Earth is no longer appropriate. Laura tensed, preparing for bad news. Would they declare humans too dangerous? Impose restrictions? We propose a new arrangement, Zelthoran said. One that acknowledges humanity's unique capabilities and incorporates them into our shared future. Ambassador Scott leaned forward. What kind of arrangement? A full alliance, Zelthoran replied. Not the limited trade and cultural exchange we have now. We propose joint military training, technology sharing, and coordinated exploration of worlds that only humans can access. A murmur spread through the chamber. Not all the aliens seemed happy with this proposal. In exchange, Zelthoran continued, the Confederation will accelerate technology transfers to Earth and support your integration into galactic affairs. We will also establish joint defense protocols that include your world. Admiral Harris looked surprised. That's a significant change in policy, Grand Marshal. Yes, agreed Zelthoran, but the revelation of human capabilities requires a significant response. We would rather have humanity as a close ally than as an unpredictable factor. In galactic affairs, Laura understood the unspoken message. The Confederation feared what humans might do with their ability to operate in environments others couldn't reach. Rather than risk future conflict, they wanted to bind Earth's interest to their own. Ambassador Scott spoke carefully. Earth will need to consider this proposal thoroughly. This would be a much deeper commitment than our current agreements. Of course, Zelthoran said, but before you leave we have arranged a demonstration that may help inform your decision. The Grand Marshal turned to Laura. Commander Winters, given your role in this discovery, we request that you participate in a joint military exercise. A war game, if you will, to test how human capabilities might integrate with Confederation forces. Laura glanced at Admiral Harris, who nodded slightly. I would be honored, Grand Marshal. As the meeting ended, Laura realized that humanity's place in the galaxy had just changed forever. The Confederation had discovered something about humans that humans themselves had never fully appreciated. Their adaptability to extreme environments was not common in the galaxy. It was extraordinary. And that simple biological fact had just made humanity far more important to the future of galactic civilization than anyone had imagined. 2 weeks after the High Council meeting, Laura found herself on board the Confederation military vessel Light of Dawn. She had been given command of a small human team for the joint military exercise. Her squad included 5 soldiers who had trained with her before: Captain Ryan Kelly, Specialists Garcia and Martinez, and Lieutenants Baker and Powell. They stood in the ship's strategy room, looking at a 3D map of a moon system where the exercise would take place. 3 moons orbited a gas giant planet. Small lights on the map showed the objectives they needed to capture and hold. The rules are simple, explained Confederation Officer Vex, a tall insect-like alien with compound eyes. Your team will compete against a Confederation force commanded by General Sithril. Whoever controls the most objectives after 3 days wins. Laura studied the map carefully. What are the environmental conditions? Vex tapped a control panel. Data appeared beside each moon. Moon 1 has standard gravity and breathable air. Moon 2 has high radiation levels. Moon 3 has extreme heat on the day side, extreme cold on the night side, and thin atmosphere. Captain Kelly looked at the information and smiled slightly. So only Moon 1 is comfortable for Confederation forces? Correct, Vex replied. Most species would require heavy protection on the other moons. The exercise begins in 6 hours. Your team will start from this point. He indicated a spot on Moon 1. You may use any of these transport vessels. Images of small ships appeared on a screen. After Vex left, Laura gathered her team around the map. They've set this up to test our environmental advantages, she said. The Confederation team will be much larger than ours, but they'll avoid the harsh moons if possible. So we use the environments they can't handle, Lieutenant Baker said. She was the team's tactical expert, with dark skin and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Laura nodded. Exactly. Here's the plan. 6 hours later, the exercise began. Laura's team boarded a small transport ship and left the Light of Dawn. As expected, they saw much larger Confederation forces heading toward Moon 1 where the most favorable conditions existed. They'll expect us to challenge them directly for those objectives, Laura said as they watched the other ships. Let's surprise them. She directed their ship toward Moon 2, the high radiation world. As they entered orbit, sensors showed dangerous radiation levels that would require heavy shielding for most Confederation species. Radiation suits activated, Captain Kelly announced. Human radiation protection was much lighter and more mobile than what the aliens needed. They landed near one of the objectives, a small outpost on a rocky plain. No Confederation forces were in sight. Too easy, Garcia said as they secured the first objective with no resistance. Don't get overconfident, Laura warned. They'll adjust their strategy once they realize what we're doing. She was right. Hours later, as they approached the second objective on Moon 2, they spotted a Confederation ship landing. Heavily shielded alien soldiers emerged, moving slowly in their bulky protective gear. They're trying to match us, Lieutenant Powell observed. But look how slow they are. The Confederation soldiers took 3 times longer to move across the terrain. Their thick shields protected them from radiation, but limited their mobility and vision. Laura's team easily outmaneuvered them, setting up defensive positions around the second objective. When the aliens attacked, the humans used the rough terrain to their advantage, moving quickly between radiation hotspots where the aliens couldn't follow, without risking equipment failure. Within hours, Laura's team controlled both objectives on Moon 2. Now for Phase 2, Laura said. They left a small defense team on Moon 2 and moved to Moon 3, the temperature extreme world. Here, the day side blazed at over 200 degrees Celsius, while the night side froze at minus 150. On the Rao's atmosphere was thin but not completely absent. Near the terminator line, Laura ordered, referring to the boundary between day and night. The temperature swings there will be constant and unpredictable. They landed and deployed in environmental suits designed for rapid temperature changes. The landscape was bizarre. Rocks cracked and reformed as they cooled and heated with the moving terminator line. The sky was dark on one side, blindingly bright on the other. Movement detected, Lieutenant Baker reported. Confederation forces are coming. Large group, heavily equipped. Laura wasn't surprised. General Sithril was smart enough to realize he needed to contest these objectives. What followed was a complex game of positioning. The Confederation forces had superior numbers and firepower, but their environmental protection slowed them down and limited their tactical options. The humans used the temperature swings as a weapon. They would retreat to areas where the temperature was changing most rapidly, forcing the aliens to constantly adjust their protection systems. Equipment failures began to plague the Confederation troops as their systems struggled to keep up with the extreme shifts. By the end of the first day, Laura's team controlled all 3 objectives on Moons 2 and 3. On the second day, General Sithril changed tactics. He concentrated all his forces on Moon 1, securing those objectives and setting up strong defensive positions. Then he sent a small elite force with the best environmental protection to try to retake one objective on Moon 3. The battle was intense. The Confederation soldiers fought well despite their environmental disadvantages. But when a sudden temperature shift caused 2 of their protective systems to fail, they were forced to retreat. "They can't match our adaptability," Captain Kelly said as they watched the alien ship depart. "Their equipment is good, but they don't have our experience in dealing with rapid environmental changes." Laura nodded. "That's our real advantage. Not just that we can survive here, but that we know how to use these conditions." On the third day, Laura made a bold decision. "We're going to take an objective on Moon 1. Her team looked surprised. "That's their stronghold," Lieutenant Powell said. "They outnumber us 10-1 there." "Yes," Laura agreed, "but they won't. Expect us to challenge them directly, and we need to show that humans can compete even on favorable ground." They selected the smallest objective on Moon 1, a communication relay station located in rough mountain terrain. Rather than attack directly, they used their experience from XC-291 to approach from the most difficult route, a steep cliff face that the Confederation forces had left lightly guarded. The human team climbed through the night, using their strength and endurance honed by training in high gravity. When dawn came, they launched a surprise attack from the rear of the Confederation position. The aliens fought hard but were caught off guard. After 2 hours of fighting with training weapons, Laura's team secured the objective. When the exercise ended, humans controlled 4 of the 7 objectives, all of those on the harsh moons plus 1 on Moon 1. General Sithril himself came to meet Laura as she returned to the light of dawn. His serpentine body was coiled formally, a sign of respect. "Commander Winters," he said, "your tactics were unexpected." "We adapted to the battlefield," Laura replied with a small smile. "It's what humans do." The data from the exercise was transmitted throughout the Confederation fleet. Laura knew what this demonstration meant. Humans had just proven they could not only survive where other species couldn't, but could use those environments to overcome superior numbers and technology. That night, Grand Marshal Zelthorin invited Laura to a private meeting. "Your performance was impressive," he said, "but also concerning to many in the Confederation." "We were just following the rules of the exercise," Laura said. "Yes." Zelthorin's glowing skin pulsed softly. "But you've demonstrated why some fear what humans might become. You achieved victory despite having fewer soldiers and less advanced technology." Laura met his gaze steadily. "Is that why you're proposing an alliance? Because you fear us?" "Not precisely," Zelthorin replied. "We fear what others might do if they discover what we now know. There are aggressive empires beyond our borders who would see humans as weapons to be used. We would rather stand with you than against you." As Laura returned to her quarters, she realized that humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. What they had always seen as simple survival adaptations had turned out to be something much more valuable and dangerous in the eyes of the galaxy. The Confederation's fear was clear, but so was their respect. And for now, that seemed like a good beginning. 1 year passed since the war game that had shown the galaxy what humans could do. Laura Winters stood by a large window on the newly built Galactic Cooperation Center orbiting Earth. The space station was a marvel of combined human and alien technology, with sections built to accommodate all 27 Confederation species. Laura's uniform had changed. She now wore the rank insignia of Admiral, having been promoted after the exercise. As Earth's military liaison to the Confederation, she had spent the past year traveling between worlds, helping to implement the new alliance. "Admiral Winters," a voice called from behind her. "The signing ceremony will begin in 10 minutes. Laura turned to see her assistant, Lieutenant Carl Peterson. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Is everyone ready?" "Yes, ma'am. All delegations are in the main chamber." Laura took a deep breath and headed toward the central part of the station. The hallways were filled with representatives from Earth and the Confederation. Humans walked alongside aliens of various shapes and sizes, all gathered for this historic moment. The main chamber was enormous, with a circular table at its center and rising seats around it like an amphitheater. Earth's delegation, led by President Sofia Martinez, was already seated. The Confederation representatives filled the other seats, with Grand Marshal Zelthorin at their head. Laura took her place beside General Liam Davidson, Earth's highest-ranking military officer. On her other side sat Dr. Helen Wright, the chief scientist who had helped develop new technologies for the Alliance. President Martinez stepped forward to address the gathering. Today marks a new chapter in humanity's journey among the stars. The Sol Confederation Defense Pact we signed today recognizes our unique contributions to galactic security and establishes Earth as a full partner in the Confederation. The terms of the pact had been negotiated over months. Humans would contribute specialized forces for operations in environments hostile to other species. Earth would also open certain harsh worlds for joint research and resource development. In exchange, the Confederation would share advanced technologies and support Earth's full integration into galactic affairs. Grand Marshal Zelthorin spoke next, his glowing skin pulsing with formal patterns. "This alliance acknowledges the special capabilities that humans bring to our shared future. Your adaptability to extreme environments fills a critical gap in our defensive strategy. Together we stand stronger than apart." Laura knew there was more to it than the grand speeches suggested. Behind closed doors, many Confederation strategists had argued that humans were too dangerous to leave unaligned. Better to bind them with treaties and technology sharing than risk them someday becoming rivals. The signing process began. One by one, representatives from Earth and each Confederation species placed their marks or signatures on the agreement. Some signed with hands, or similar appendages. Others used tentacles, proboscis, or specialized limbs. When it was Laura's turn to sign as Earth's military representative, she found herself seated across from General Sithril, who had commanded the opposing forces in the war game. "Admiral Winters," he said quietly as they both signed. "You have changed the galaxy more than you know." After the ceremony ended, a reception began. The room filled with conversation in dozens of languages as humans and aliens mingled. Food and drinks, suitable for every biology, were served. Laura found it remarkable how quickly such gatherings had become normal. She was watching a human diplomat attempt to learn a greeting ritual from a six-armed alien when Grand Marshal Zelthorin approached her. "Admiral Winters," he said. "Might we speak privately?" They moved to a quiet corner of the room with a view of Earth below. The blue planet looked peaceful from this distance. "There's something I wish to share with you," Zelthorin said. "Something not included in the public announcements." Laura raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" "Our long-range scouts have detected activity at the borders of known space. There are other galactic powers beyond the Confederation's territory. Some are not peaceful." "We suspected as much," Laura said. That's why the alliance made sense for both sides. Yes. Selthoran's skin dimmed slightly. But there's more. Some of these powers have begun probing our defenses, and our intelligence suggests they may have learned about humans and your unique capabilities. Laura felt a chill. How? Information spreads, especially valuable information, and the knowledge that a species can operate in environments others cannot. That is very valuable indeed. You're saying we might be targets? Selthoran's four hands made a gesture that Laura had learned meant serious concern. Several powers beyond our borders use biological adaptations as weapons. They would see humans as perfect tools, soldiers who could fight where others cannot. We're not tools, Laura said firmly. No, you are partners now, and that is why I tell you this. Selthoran looked directly at her. The Confederation feared you at first, but we came to realize that an alliance was not just politically wise but necessary for mutual protection. There are forces that would use you rather than respect you. Laura understood. The Confederation's rush to ally with Earth hadn't been only about fear of human capabilities. It had been about protecting humans from others who would exploit those capabilities. So we face outward together, she said. Exactly. Selthoran's skin brightened. And to that end I have a proposal. We wish to establish a new joint force, specialized units combining human environmental adaptability with Confederation technology. You would be the ideal commander. Laura was surprised. A mixed human-alien force? Yes, the challenges would be significant. Different biological needs, different command structures, but the potential is greater. Imagine Thalaxian strength combined with human environmental adaptability, or Sithrel speed with human endurance. The idea was both exciting and daunting. I would be honored, Laura said after a moment. But it will take time to build something like that. Of course, but we have taken the first steps today. As the reception continued around them, Laura looked at the gathering of humans and aliens. 1 year ago, the Confederation had panicked upon discovering what humans could do. That panic had turned to fear, then to strategic calculation, and finally to genuine alliance. What had started as a simple training mission on planet XC-291 had changed humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Humans had gone from being seen as primitive newcomers to valued partners with unique abilities. Laura thought about the planets shown on the galactic map, the red dots that represented worlds where only humans could go. Those worlds were no longer barriers. They were bridges to a new future. There's a saying on Earth, Laura told Selthoran, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. Wise words, the Grand Marshal replied. What has been revealed about humans is remarkable indeed. As they rejoined the reception, Laura felt both pride and concern. Humanity had found its place among the stars in a way no one had expected. They had become important not because of advanced technology or overwhelming numbers, but because of their own bodies, shaped by Earth's varying environments to adapt and survive where others could not. The galaxy had changed. New allies, new threats, new possibilities lay ahead. Laura wondered what other human traits might prove valuable or dangerous as they ventured further into space. Whatever came next, one thing was certain. No one in the galaxy would ever again underestimate the species that trained on worlds others couldn't survive.